If I had to sum up today's entire video in a single word, I actually couldn't, because this is a cram session. Today, I have multiple stories, some of which you could probably expect, like celebrities acting badly, TikTokers getting into a controversy. But we also have a couple that nobody could have predicted, like Donald Duck, yes, that one, coming under fire for possibly engaging in cannibalism. So plenty of nonsense, but there's also plenty of serious stuff. Some people are getting called out, others are getting shouted out, and I can't wait to tell you all about who's who and who did what. But first, welcome, my name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of synthetic photosynthesis, which is a very real degree that I definitely do have. Or maybe this is just me broadcasting myself talking in my room like YouTube used to be. And today's lecture is actually the very first installation of Cram Session. And in this session, we've crammed celebrities' new obsession with eating possibly toxic substances on their social media, the person behind TikTok's biggest meme, the very demure trend, getting into some hot water, but then getting out of it like an absolute boss. And to round it all out, we've got everything from astronauts stuck in space to Lionsgate putting out a movie trailer featuring a bunch of critic reviews that they just made up. You will be expected to take notes, mostly on what not to do. First up, celebrities eating possibly toxic food on social media. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, that sounds like an incredibly specific thing to have happened more than once, I was in the same boat until very recently. Alicia Silverstone eats possibly toxic fruit, sparking online concern. I don't think you're supposed to eat this. So says this article from People magazine that crossed my desk a few days ago. And by crossed my desk, I mean popped up on my newsfeed at 6 a.m. and I was like, there is no way I just read that headline correctly. So if you don't recognize Alicia Silverstone by name, by far her most popular role was Cher from Clueless. And it looks like the cluelessness in question might not have ended with the release of the 1995 movie, because she posted this TikTok, which I can only describe as, I can't actually describe this. You would just have to watch it.
I've discovered something that I can't figure out what it is and I need your help. I just bit into it because I was on the street and we were discussing whether this was a tomato or not.
So some say tomato, she says tomato. I say, I know you did not just eat that off of the literal street. No rinsing, no nothing. There are so very many reasons that you should never have done this. The chief of which being, you have no idea what it is. And to be fair, I guess it is kind of giving tomato, but at the same time, what are you doing?
Look at these leaves. Those are the leaves. So what the heck is this? Because when you open it up, it looks like that. And if I bite it...
Oh my God.
I don't think you're supposed to eat this.
So you ate one off the ground. You are now presumably eating this one out of someone else's garden. But I feel like if all she wanted was answers, she could have posted this exact TikTok minus her eating trash and just still asked, hey guys, can anyone ID this fruit? But now the only thing I'm trying to ID is what was going through your mind when you ate food off of visibly disgusting pavement.
Does anyone know what this is? I don't know what it is. I need someone to tell me. I'm in England. Okay, thank you.
You know, does anybody remember the days when like most celebrity social media accounts were totally run by their managers? I am not saying we should bring that back, but sometimes I'm not saying we should bring that back. You feel me? She's clearly clueless. Obviously, there were a lot of comments like this, but I think I mostly relate to the ones like these. Eating random stuff from bushes when you don't know what it is a level of non-anxiety that I can only aspire to. It really must be nice to just walk around outside and never have thought to yourself, wow, everything in nature is low-key trying to kill us, isn't it? The sun is extremely beautiful, but without sun protection is like extremely dangerous. Water, the ocean, very cool. Drowning, less cool. Mushrooms are just, you know, fun guys. Nope, I'm cutting that. Actually, I'm not cutting that. I'm just gonna be my true authentic self. I wonder if this rock is edible. Even setting aside the fact that ingesting things which you cannot identify is unhinged, people were also quick to point out that she was basically low-key kind of stealing. It's growing in someone else's gate. It's on someone's private front garden. You can't just reach through their gate and pick their plants. More to the point, why are you eating random things from someone's garden? God, the emoji elevates this comment so much. By far though, my favorite comment on this post was, we're eating stuff off the street bushes? We're doing this now? But besides the jokes and the general incredulousness, there were actually quite a few people who think they did identify the mystery fruit. A mystery fruit which just so happens to be a little bit poisonous. Jerusalem cherry. They are poisonous. Jerusalem cherry, toxic. Sad face. I'm British. Don't eat it.
I need someone to tell me I'm in England.
I love the appeal to authority there. And while we'll technically never know for sure, the thing that Alicia Silverstone ate does look remarkably like a Jerusalem cherry. Like, this is highly concerning compared to Alicia's TikTok, especially seeing as Jerusalem cherry belongs to the same family as nightshade, and it can cause everything from stomach pain to hallucinations, hypothermia, or, you know, paralysis. And as the National Institute for Health tells us, death is uncommon when it comes to Jerusalem cherry poisoning, but forgive my unlicensed, very non-medical doctor opinion when I say you probably still shouldn't be eating them. Anyway, Miss Silverstone is in fact alive and well, as she updated her TikTok followers shortly thereafter, because she didn't swallow, apparently. As if the larger issue wasn't the fact that she put it in her mouth in the first place. Well, and so I was like, okay, all's well that ends well. And then the very next day, I got recommended an article that says, Ludacris sparks alarm by drinking unfiltered Alaska glacier water. Water's so good, it tastes like God made it. I like this implication that, like, other water is man-made. Luda, what are we doing here?
Listen, man, half the world's glaciers are here in Alaska. I couldn't come here and just have a show. I've never tasted fresh glacial water ever in my life, and this is a first.
I feel like sometimes we don't get what we want for a reason, but I guess when you're a celebrity, there's nothing to stop you.
Here we go. Oh my God. Oh!
I won't lie, the vibes were definitely a little better in this video. He didn't seem to steal anything from anybody's garden. But this does raise an interesting question. Is he technically not drinking water off of the ground if the ground is in fact made of water? Well, either way, people were very concerned because, as Vice News tells us, the news came just as researchers from Ohio State University found over 1,700 ancient viruses buried deep in a glacier in western China, most of which are brand new discoveries. See what I mean about nature trying to kill us? Like, I respect it, to be sure, but I also fear it. And I just feel like some people do not have enough fear. Well, yeah, this just in, published at the Yale School of the Environment. Hundreds of ancient viruses discovered deep inside Tibetan glacier. However, according to The Guardian, an expert on glaciers from the University of Alaska said the online brouhaha was ludicrous. Ha ha ha. He's totally fine. It's understandable that somebody would be concerned about just drinking untreated water. Yes, I think that's very understandable. But if you drink water from a melt stream on a glacier, that's about the cleanest water you'll ever get. The expert pointed out it's not always safe to drink water from a stream in the wild, but there's really just no concern on these glacial streams about safety. So again, Ludacris was fine. Or rather, he feels like Superman, as he said in a health update after drinking the water in question. A health update which I think was much appreciated, considering there are 36 million views on this repost of him, asking how long ago did he shoot this and have we been monitoring him?
It was the best tasting water I've ever had in my life, and as I drank it, I felt like every cell in my human body was being hydrated and rejuvenated at the same damn time.
I mean, don't let me cramp your style, I guess. But maybe let the National Park Service cramp your style a little bit, where they show you how to purify water from the Glacier National Park, and they suggest that you should never drink water from a natural source that you haven't purified, even if the water looks clean. Which, to be fair, the water does look really, really good and clean. But I'll just stay over here with my very normal water, which hopefully does not contain 1,700 viruses. But anyways, I was like, wow, what a strange coincidence that I've had two stories that feel so similar. And then my newsfeed was like, oh, okay, you like this incredibly specific niche? Here, read this. Why is social media telling us it's okay to drink raw milk? Influencers are trying to tout the health benefits of unpasteurized milk. At this point, I was like, someone is genuinely messing with me. Like, my FBI agent is just somewhere manipulating my newsfeed and just having a laugh. So this Food and Wine article talks about how carnivore diet or homesteading content is full of people pushing unpasteurized milk to their followers. You've got Ballerina Farm and her 10 million TikTok followers.
We just got in from milking. We drink our milk raw, but I'm going to show you how we strain it and what we do with the milk before we drink it.
Not pasteurize it. Apparently, we've got this animal-based carnivore diet influencer telling us about the raw milk she feeds to her children.
We're gonna do some raw milk. Really looking forward to hearing your opinions on this. It's so dangerous. My kids are happy, healthy, thriving, but I appreciate the offer to co-parent.
Something tells me she's not looking forward to hearing my opinion about this. So maybe I just won't share my opinion. Maybe I'll just share the opinion of the United States Food and Drug Administration, who says that raw milk can contain a variety of disease-causing pathogens, and that numerous scientific studies, along with numerous foodborne outbreaks, clearly demonstrate the risk associated with drinking raw milk. Or maybe if you're just not into the FDA like that, we could do the Center for Disease Control, who says that pasteurization is crucial for milk safety, consuming raw milk can lead to serious health risks, etc. We've got this article published in the National Library of Medicine, which says that in some studies, up to a third of all raw milk samples contain pathogens, even when sourced from clinically healthy animals or from milk that appeared to be of good quality. But yeah, for every scientific peer-reviewed article, you can find another person who's participating in the United States raw milk debate, as Wikipedia tells us all about. Apparently, people argue about this online so hard that it now has its own Wikipedia page. And I guess I would like to very much bow out of the debate by saying, I don't care if you drink raw milk, but maybe don't spread it online to a bunch of people when there's scientific literature saying this could make people sick. I don't know. It's a free country, but we don't have free healthcare. So why would I sit here and drink something that scientists are telling me could give me E. coli or salmonella? Anyways, that was that story. People who are big on social media consuming things that I don't think literally any of their followers should. How very fun. Now on to our next story, which interestingly also involves a star consuming things that wound up being controversial. But this time it was not ludicrous Alicia Silverstone or someone from TikTok. Instead, it was someone who is far more iconic than any one celebrity could ever hope to be. So it was announced that Donald Duck was going to be a guest on Hot Ones. Hot Ones, of course, is the show where celebrities attempt to eat spicy wings, and it spawned some of the most iconic moments on the internet. You've got Idris Elba almost dying from the spice. You got Paul Rudd saying, "Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me." And so it's only right that a celebrity of Donald's caliber should join the ranks of like the incredible guests that they've had. But while many people on the internet were excited about this, some were asking the real questions. If a duck is eating wings, is this technically a form of cannibalism? D'Angelo, they're chicken wings, but Donald Duck is not a Donald chicken. What do you mean? But the dissenters were hard to argue with. On Hot Ones, eating his cousins with hot sauce is crazy. Are ducks and chickens cousins? Do I look like I know anything about avian zoology? I mean, I guess I do look pretty fly. Sorry. For every bad joke I tell, I'm just gonna start eating another rock. Donald Duck eating chicken wings is fundamentally wrong in the same way as Mickey having a dog best friend and also owning one. Now, here's the thing. I did not agree with the cannibalism allegations. But this to me is a very well-constructed argument. Everybody knows that there's just something off about this setup. Why does Goofy have human rights? Why does Pluto not have human rights? I don't think there's a human word for the problem with Mickey, Pluto, and Goofy, but it is a problem nonetheless. And so similarly, I would not consider Donald Duck to be a cannibal, but were he to consume chicken wings, I would still consider that to be quite problematic. But thankfully, when the episode came out, Hot Ones clarified, for those who are curious, Donald requested cauliflower bites instead of wings. Cannibalism controversy narrowly avoided. Yay! Also, because the cauliflower bites in question are so spicy, Donald low-key dies and then they have to give him some milk. And the only thing I could think of when I saw this part was, man, I sure hope it's pasteurized. Anyways, I have a special interest in like fake news. Not in the Trumpian sense, but just very passionate stories about things that are not real. They amuse me to no end. And I believe this Entertainment Weekly headline was the greatest thing to come out of this whole fiasco. Disney's Donald Duck evades cannibalism, uses cauliflower wings over chicken in wild Hot Ones debut. Disney's Donald Duck evades cannibalism controversy with cauliflower will live in my head rent-free probably until the end of my days. Or at least until our very next story. So have you heard the words very demure at any point in the last couple weeks? If yes, join the club. If not, here's a quick explainer. So this situation involves a TikTok influencer, but if you're not on the Clock app, NJ.com has this pretty good breakdown. The TikToker in question is Jools LeBron, who's racked up over 50 million views on a TikTok about how to be demure and modest and respectful at the workplace.
You see how I do my makeup for work? Very demure, very mindful. I don't do too much. I'm very mindful while I'm at work. See my shirt? Only a little chichi out, not my chocho.
So with the word demure meaning reserved, modest, and shy, yet Jools LeBron having self-described Bratz doll makeup, black winged eyeliner, giant lashes, and blonde hair down to her thighs, she thought it was funny to say she was demure. And honestly, so do I. If you've been catching all my videos, you may have even heard the word demure slip out a couple times here and there. Very mindful, very demure. It just, I don't know. I feel like she's strung together a sentiment that really applies to so many things in so many people's lives.
A lot of you girls go to the interview looking like Marge Simpson and go to the job looking like Patty and Selma. Not demure.
And some of these celebrities who felt seen included Jennifer Lopez.
See how I do this when I drink from the bottle? Very demure.
Olivia Rodrigo.
You know, I keep my hair very demure, very short.
If you're doing a lot, but you're trying to make it seem like you're not, that is kind of the being very demure, very mindful meme. It's the exact kind of absurdism that I do, unfortunately, happen to find very funny. Even Joe from You got in on the fun.
You see how I show up to work?
Very demure, very mindful.
You see my shirt? Show them the shoulders, not the boulders.
And so when you've got all of these giant celebrities noticing you, it's going to turn you into a bit of a celebrity yourself. Thus, Jools' appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, guest hosted by RuPaul.
How am I doing so far?
Very demure, very mindful.
I won't lie though. I was a little worried because a lot of times when people are suddenly skyrocketed into fame, it's very quickly followed up with the realization that they're maybe not the greatest people ever. And so I thought to myself, what's really going to make or break Jools' online career, or if this even turns into a career, is if she's able to handle controversy. Because trust me, controversy is going to come your way no matter what you're doing on the internet. And come her way it did when people started trying to accuse her of, I guess, plagiarism, suggesting that she did not in fact come up with the idea of being demure. And in some ways, I think, no, I guess she didn't, but I didn't really see her acting like she did. Nevertheless, I think her response to this was one of the few 10 out of 10 statements I've ever seen anybody post online.
I would love to give nothing but admiration to all those divas who have been demure this entire time, who have paved the way for a girl like me to thrive. Being demure is thanking the people who have come before you while you pave the path for the people who will come after you. And that's being demure, divas.
She's just very good at this. You know what I mean? She's charming. She's smart. She doesn't seem, I guess, motivated by anything negative. The joke is that she's pretending to be humble, but I genuinely do think she's a pretty humble person. And her followers seem to have really picked up on that, because whereas I think people online would just be tearing apart most people who are at the height of their popularity when there's a hint of controversy, instead the comments unanimously decided that her response was very demure. See how she responds? Very mindful, very grateful. Very demure response, very mindful. I couldn't help but wonder, was the real demure the friends we made along the way? But actually, I think this comment sums it up really well. It's not just the word demure, it's that you're funny, you're relatable, we all love your content. The plagiarism accusations were ludicrous. No glacier water. No, she did not invent demure, but obviously the very demure, very mindful trend is all her. And it wasn't only celebrities who were a big fan of her personality and what she represented online. This @Age article details Brand's demure collaborations with TikTok trends creator. So she's had partnerships with Verizon, Lyft, Zillow, Netflix. It is absolutely Jools' year. And what was just a funny internet trend for most of us was actually a lot deeper for her in the end.
One day, I was playing cashier and making videos on my break. And now I'm flying across country to host events, and I'm going to be able to finance the rest of my transition. I finally said it without crying.
That's huge. And I'm really happy for her. And it's just so nice to talk about somebody online who doesn't suck. But unfortunately, that didn't stop other people from sucking. So someone who is not Jools LeBron tried to file a copyright for very demure or very mindful after the phrase went viral due to Jools' TikToks. This wound up being a huge blow, as she thought it was going to make it impossible for her to sell merch and, you know, capitalize on the trend she created.
I've just invested so much money and time into this. And I feel like I did it wrong. Like, I feel like I didn't try hard enough.
But thankfully, bottom-feeding trademark trolls did not get the best of her in the end, because as this Verge article points out, trademarking things is actually a really long and complex process, and the trademark trolls application was still in the extremely early stages. So even though this person filing it is a pain for her, technically she's well within her rights to oppose that person's application, as long as she can prove that she was using it first. That deal with Verizon, for example, kind of looks like use in commerce. So yeah, turns out having Olivia Rodrigo and RuPaul acknowledge your meme while simultaneously being in campaigns for Lyft and Netflix is actually a great thing, because all Jules really has to do is say, hey, look at all this stuff that was so me and not this other person, and she's basically going to be fine. And remember how I said she's smart? I really do think she's good at making the right choice no matter what pops up.
Divas, on the trademark front, I feel like I have to say something. We got it handled. Now I'm going to leave it at that. We got it handled. Mama got a team now.
Surrounding yourself with a team of experts who knows what to do and how to handle really crazy situations like this is absolutely the smartest thing she could have done in this situation. So yeah, overall, Jules LeBron literally cannot lose no matter how much people want her to. Turns out being not horrible on the internet kind of has its perks. Anyway, the last main thing I feel like we have to talk about is the astronauts stuck in space right now. But first, I actually had another mini nonsense story for you. This one's actually very straightforward. So there's this new movie coming out, Megalopolis, and it's being distributed by Lionsgate. It's got a crazy star-studded cast: Adam Driver, Aubrey Plaza, Dustin Hoffman. And according to this NPR article, Lionsgate pulled a stunt with the trailer that wound up being so bad, they had to pull the trailer itself and apologize to the director and everybody who watched. Early reviews have been mixed, and to head off any naysayers, Lionsgate released this unusual trailer. So I guess the people who got to see the movie early thought it was mid, and to really play this up and put out this unbothered image, they decided to take a bunch of other negative reviews from people who thought Francis Ford Coppola movies were made, and they put these quotes about his previous movies in this one, just kind of pointing out like, hey, Francis Ford Coppola is no stranger to people hating his work. A sloppy, self-indulgent movie, reads a quote attributed to Andrew Saris. Hollow at the core, reads another attributed to Vincent Canby. Diminished by its artsiness, says this quote from Pauline Kael of The New Yorker. Only problem with all those quotes is that those people did not say that about his movies. All these quotes appear to have been fabricated. Some of the critics who are still alive say those aren't their words. Some suggested the quotes may have been from reviews of entirely different movies, or possibly generated by AI. And so obviously those critics and other critics and pretty much anybody online who heard about the story was like, bro, what are y'all doing? After which Lionsgate immediately recalled the trailer and sent out a statement. We offer our sincere apologies to the critics involved and to Francis Ford Coppola and American Zoetrope for this inexcusable error in our vetting process. We screwed up. We are sorry. Forget the vetting process. Why did y'all create this in the first place? We really should have vetted those lies we made up harder before putting them out into the world. Anyways, that's pretty much where the story starts and stops. There's nothing more to it. I just found it incredibly interesting and pathetic, and I wanted to share it. And I'm curious as to what you think the intention was there. Were these just AI generated quotes, which would explain why some of them are hallucinated, some of them are mixed up from other movies? Was this just an early draft of the trailer and they meant to go back and replace the quotes with accurate ones, and this somehow got through all the people who should have caught it before it was released? Or was this just completely intentional and everything was fabricated on purpose because they wanted people to talk about the movie more? Kind of like I'm doing right now. So at that, I think I'll just move on to our final story. Boeing launches NASA astronauts for the first time after years of delays. So this was reported in June, and longtime astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams were sent up into space for an 8-day mission. And even though they're working for NASA, Boeing was the manufacturer of the Starliner that took them up there. But that Starliner did not take them back down. NASA says that the Boeing astronauts are not stranded, while the astronauts remain stranded. They are definitely stuck up there, Boeing, says this Futurism article. So 2 weeks after they were launched there, apparently issues with the Starliner were causing them to be stuck there. 2 weeks then wound up turning into 49 days. NASA was like, no, this is totally fine. We're taking time to build confidence in the spacecraft to understand the thruster performance. What we're doing is not unusual for a new spacecraft. And according to the New York Times, NASA had no plan to use SpaceX to rescue Boeing Starliner astronauts. SpaceX, of course, is Elon Musk's commercial flight company. But then that no turned into a NASA says it can ask SpaceX to bring Boeing astronauts home if needed, as they reach 51 days on the space station, according to Business Insider. Then, as NBC tells us, NASA says astronauts stuck in space will not return on Boeing capsule, will wait for SpaceX craft. The Starliner has been a major setback for Boeing's space ambitions, adding to years of struggle to get the capsule off the ground and keep up with rival company SpaceX. As this one commenter said, Boeing was not very mindful, not classy, not demure. Anyways, like I said, these astronauts are space travel veterans. They are no stranger to being in space, and they don't really seem bothered at all. Fix toilets, grow plants, call home. Stuck astronauts have constant to-do lists. Like, rest assured, they're at the International Space Station. They're safe, they're secure. They just can't come home, even if they want to, and even though they were supposed to several months ago. And I hope they are coping well, because according to CNET, they will be there until 2025. And you know, shout them out, but also this kind of really sucks. But I guess if you did want anybody up there, it would be the record holder for the most spacewalks by a woman, as well as the part of the ISS crew that used a 3D printer to manufacture a tool, aka the first time humans manufactured something off-world. So like, they're fine, but also you could not pay me $1 million to put myself in that position. 8 days turning into more than half a year is absolutely diabolical. But they're fine. They're fine. Anyways, that was my first cram session. Did you notice how low-key none of these stories actually had a bad ending? Like, yes, being isolated in space is crazy, and maybe Alicia Silverstone temporarily poisoned herself. We'll really have no way of knowing. But even if these stories had some negative elements, none of them really felt depressing to me, I guess. And that's why I was actually really excited to do this video. And honestly, I'm just really proud of what my channel is right now. Yes, there's serious things to talk about, but honestly, if you are the kind of person who watches every single video I'm putting out, I know it's not just all a stream of things that's gonna leave you feeling worse after. I'm always working really hard just to balance things and have a healthy mix of topics, because honestly, that's the only way I can keep up with all of this stuff anyway. The algorithm seriously rewards negativity. It actually takes a little bit of risk to put things out there that are, I guess, not just completely bad all the time. And so I guess regaining that trust that there's still a little bit of fun to be had sometimes has been really nice. But anyways, that's my take on the situation. Dave's take on the situation is that he would have made a better Hot Ones guest than Donald Duck, because whereas Donald is quite the icon, David is even more recognizable. And I am interested in hearing your take. I mean, this is the part of the video where a layman would ask you to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment, but I will ask you to enroll, evaluate the video, and submit your feedback, because I am of course running a 100% completely, wholly, totally, unironically, okay, maybe not really, somewhat unaccredited university. Probably. Just ask anybody in the student body and they'll confirm it for you. We're totally legit. And as for me, whether you'll see me in 24 hours or 24 months is honestly anyone's guess, but until then, thanks for watching. Your homework for today is to eat something that you did not find on the ground.